Plundering. In a small courtyard within Jiang Shi's residence. The wind howled as a fierce aura surged back and forth, accompanied by the sounds of panting and sweat hitting the ground. Mingyu, take a rest. You've practiced for more than 10 hours a day, and if we add up the time for eating and resting, it's less than 2 hours in total. If this continues, I'm afraid your body won't be able to handle it. The courtyard door opened, and Liu Xiaoyu and Hong Yi walked in, both with looks of concern in their eyes. The Liu Mingyu before them used to be a pampered young miss in Bayan City, prone to crying when things went awry, but now, she practiced for over 10 hours each day like a tireless machine. A month ago, her face was somewhat plump, but now her cheekbones were slightly emaciated, and her brows filled with determination, a complete change from before. Right now I am just an auditing student, not even a direct disciple of Zhang LOHP. I have no time to rest. Liu Mingyu shook her head. Back in Bayan City, due to her own cleverness, she caused Zhang Shan to not yet accept her as an inner disciple, meaning that even though she had arrived at the Zhou dynasty, she was still just an auditor. In terms of status, she couldn't even compare with Chao Ya and other direct disciples, let alone Dao Li. Therefore, whenever she had the time, she practiced desperately, hoping to prove herself through hard work. Practice requires a balance of work and rest. Practicing like this will only make you more exhausted. I'm afraid it might hinder your progress. Liu Xiaoyu frowned. Don't worry, I'll watch myself. My goal is simple, to become a true student of Zhang LOHP. Just like you all, Liu Mingyu said with a faint smile, knowing their good intentions. Alright, I need to continue practicing. You all should hurry as well. The teacher's progressing extremely fast. Some of our fellow senior brothers and sisters have already been taken by powerful clans, and becoming a strong practitioner is just a matter of time. If our cultivation is too low, it would be a shame for our teacher. That's true. Liu Xiaoyu and Hong Yi nodded in unison. In the past, they might have thought their own cultivation speed wasn't slow, but compared to senior brothers like Chao Ya and Zheng Yang, they realized they weren't even in the same league. Not just them, even the chicken and the horse were making rapid progress, astonishingly fast. With mediocre talent and resources, if they didn't put in the effort, when would they ever catch up? Since Zhang Shan is your teacher, that couldn't be better. Just then, a cold snort came from the dark. Liu Xiaoyu, Liu Mingyu, and the rest quickly turned their heads, only to see two tall figures slowly walking towards them. It was none other than the leaders of the Mo Blade sect who had stealthily approached, Mo Baiye and his senior disciple, Mo Hong. Who's there? Hong Yi's expression darkened as he positioned himself in front of his two senior sisters. I advise you to obediently come with us, to avoid unnecessary pain. Mo Hong said indifferently, waving his hand dismissively. Senior sisters, run fast and find the teacher. I'll hold them off. Hong Yi's expression turned stern, and with a low shout, he rushed forward. Before he even reached them, a hefty fist thundered down. His progress during this period of practice was quite remarkable. He had reached the Spirit Soul realm, eightfold realm of Source Pool, only half a step away from the Dharma form realm. Such cultivation would be considered pinnacle in Bayan City, but in front of the two strongest of the Mo Blade sect, it meant nothing. Mo Hong flicked his finger, and a glint of the saber shot out from the tip, making Hong Yi grunt and fly backward, blood spurting from his mouth while still in the air. Hong Yi, seeing that their junior brother couldn't even withstand a single move before getting injured, Liu Xiaoyu's and Liu Mingyu's expressions both turned grave. With a sharp cry, they too stepped forward to meet the attack. The strength of the two women wasn't much different from Hong Yi's. They had just broken through to the Dharma form realm, and their basics were solid. Every move they made was imbued with strength. However, compared to Mo Hong, who was at the Galaxy 3 Dan peak, they fell far short, and after just two flicks from Mo Hong, both were forced to retreat continuously. Fools who caught death. Mo Hong snorted lightly as he repelled the three of them. Just as he prepared to capture them, Liu Mingyu flipped her wrist, and a Mo blade unexpectedly appeared in her palm, turning into a grim blade wind that she cleaved towards him. Mo blade technique. Mo Hong was taken aback, eyes full of astonishment. You are also practicing Mo Dao Destiny. The girl's swordsmanship was extremely refined. Although her power wasn't incredibly strong due to her limited strength, the fierce aura emitted from the blade wind made even him feel a palpable terror. This was entirely different from the techniques taught by his teacher. It seemed even more forceful and powerful. That a girl could execute a saber art more forcefully than a big man like him, proclaiming such a thing would simply beg a belief. She's practicing Mo Dao destiny, which I didn't teach. Even I can't sense it, he murmured. Capture her alive. We must interrogate her thoroughly. Mo Baye noticed the girl's swordsmanship and raised an eyebrow. Yes, Mo Hong dared not waste words. With a flick, he knocked Liu Mingyu's Mo blade away, then a palm strike hit the girl's shoulder. Boom! Liu Mingyu was sent flying backward, blood spewing from her midair form before she landed on the ground, unable to move. Save me! Seeing how formidable the enemy was, that all three of them had been seriously wounded within just a couple of breaths, Yu Xiaoyu could not afford further thought and yelled for help. However, as soon as the words left her mouth, she felt an oppressively powerful force bearing down, followed by a thud in her abdomen. Boom! Then, she too was sent flying straight backward, her body rigid and her face pale. A single blow from the oncoming blade light inflicted a fatal wound to her lower abdomen, the injury shockingly severe. Senior Sister Yu Hongyi's eyes were bloodshot with rage. Struggling to ignore his own pain, he charged forward, but Mo Hong flicked his hand again, sending a blade wind slicing through the air and into Hongyi's chest, penetrating clean through. Thud. After sustaining a heavy blow, Hongyi could no longer hold on. He fell heavily to the ground, blood spewing unchecked from his mouth, now completely unable to move. Just taking this girl with us is enough. After landing two moves that left the pair critically injured, Mo Hong was about to move forward when Mo Baye's voice called out. Yes, Mo Hong nodded, reached into the air, and lifted Liu Mingyu onto his shoulder. Let's go. Mo Baye turned to leave. Teacher, should we leave a message? Mo Hong said, lowering his voice. No need. The martial skills you just used were Mo Blade martial skill. Zhang Shan will surely notice upon his return. As long as he's not a fool, he should be able to figure out what happened. Mo Baye waved his hand dismissively. By the time he realizes, we will already be in Jilin Valley. Even if he has a powerful background and has hidden his true strength, he'll have no advantage there and will still be at our mercy, won't he? Teacher's wisdom is unparalleled. Mo Hong had a sudden realization. As they spoke, the two men, carrying Liu Mingyu, walked out of the courtyard and disappeared into the thick night. Xiaoyu, Hongyi. The assailants hadn't been gone long when Sun Qian heard the commotion and rushed over. Seeing the two bloodied figures, his face turned ashen. He hurriedly took out recovery pills, fed them to the two, and stabilized their worsening injuries. Quick, save Mingyu, she's been taken by the Mo Blade sect. Struggling to explain, Yu Xiaoyu immediately passed out. Harming the young master's disciple and kidnapping his student, the Mo Blade sect is digging its own grave. After sending people to move the severely injured pair back to their rooms for urgent treatment, Sun Qian clenched his fists, his gaze icy and intense. He knew the young master's personality very well. Zhang Shan typically didn't care about trivial matters, but if someone dared hurt his people, he would surely turn the world upside down. It seemed the Zhou Yi dynasty was on the brink of an upheaval. Galaxy 2 Dan Peak. Fu family, outside the courtyard where 10,000 Foxwell was located, it was just getting light when a figure arrived quietly. Dressed in a long azure dress, which accentuated her graceful figure, she had a pink flower pinned by her temple, vibrant and almost dripping with moisture. In a few strides, she arrived outside the courtyard gate. She didn't rush to enter nor did she knock. Instead, she took out a copper mirror, carefully rearranged some stray hairs on her face, reapplied her red lipstick, and then let out a breath. In 2 steps, she reached the front of the gate, extended her palm, and prepared to knock. Yi, what are you doing here? Just then, a voice sounded, and Fu Yi, the girl in the long azure dress, quickly turned around to see Fu Jingning walking over from one side of the courtyard. Fu Jingning was also dressed with care, in a light purple long dress, exceptionally form-fitting, perfectly outlining her body's curves. She had light makeup on her face, and her lips shimmered, giving off an allure that made one want to lean in for a kiss. Her exquisite beauty, coupled with her meticulous dress, was eye-catching. But what was truly perplexing was she was holding a specially made lunch box. Even before she got close, a delicate fragrance wafted in the air. I was just coming to have a look. How about you, what are you doing here? Fu Yi hurriedly hid her hands behind her back, stammering. I'm here to bring Jiang Shan some food. This is the soup that I asked Yan Sanson to wake up in the early morning to stew for him. Fu Jingying raised the lunchbox in her hand. Bringing food. He already has Fu Yingying by his side, isn't it inappropriate for you to do this? Fu Yi frowned. I made 2 portions, one for Fu Yingying as well. I don't care about these things, as long as he takes a bite of my cooking, I'll be content. Fu Jingying smiled, you couldn't also be here to bring food, right? Don't tell me you got lost and ended up here by accident. I, of course, came to bring food too. Caught outright, Fu Yi blushed, bringing her hands from behind her back to the front, and indeed, she was also holding a lunchbox, emitting the fragrance of food. Drinking soup in the morning isn't good for the stomach. This is the 8 treasure porridge I had Shen Wujun make early in the morning for Jiang Shan. The 8 treasure porridge is too sweet. I particularly asked Su Yunjie to make fried dough sticks and soy milk. Just then, Fu Kunking walked over, lifting the breakfast in her hand. Jiang Shan will definitely eat mine. He will definitely eat mine. Fu Yi raised her eyebrows. What's the point of arguing? Here, if we knock and go in, won't we know whose food he wants to eat? Just then, a teasing voice sounded, and Fu Weiwei walked over. Weiwei, you also brought Jiang Shan some food. Seeing that she was also holding breakfast, Fu Jingying's face showed displeasure. Of course not, I am just delivering food to Sister Yingying, and incidentally brought a portion for Jiang Shan, said Fu Weiwei. As long as it's not for him, that's fine. Fu Jingying sighed with relief and nodded, Weiwei's right. What Jiang Shan wants to eat, and from whom, we just have to deliver it, and he can decide for himself. Yes, let's knock. Fu Kunking gestured. Okay. Fu Yi agreed. Just as she was about to knock, she suddenly felt the origin chi around them rush crazily towards the center of the courtyard, turning the whole area into the eye of a storm in the blink of an eye. What's happening? All 4 of them, paying no heed to their dispute, watched the courtyard with serious expressions. The courtyard had turned into a huge depression in the river, with all the surrounding origin chi collapsing rapidly inside. The speed of extraction was so quick that a vacuum even formed. Is this someone breaking through? The group realized, their eyes filled with astonishment. They had also experienced breakthroughs, attempting to reach higher realms, and knew that doing so would accelerate the absorption of origin chi, but at most it would create a minor disturbance, akin to a fart. But this person inside was consuming origin chi from miles around. Just how immense was the strength they had accumulated? It must be Yingying who has had a breakthrough after receiving the inheritance. Just as the 4 of them were shocked, the Fu family master had appeared before them at some unknown time, clenching his fists in excitement. Without thinking, it was clear that Fu Yingying's cultivation must have soared rapidly after receiving the entire inheritance from the old Grand Dowager. Yingying, Fu Yi and the others were filled with envy. To be able to swallow so much origin chi and breakthrough, it was feared that from now on, Fu Yingying's strength would no longer be comparable to theirs. People outside the courtyard were shocked, while the Fu Yingying inside had also awakened from her practice. Through a night of cultivation, she had not only consolidated her understanding of heavenly mandate vitality but had also advanced her cultivation to the Galaxy 1 Dan middle stage. Although not very strong, it was no longer too weak. Feeling somewhat satisfied, she immediately sensed something was off and couldn't help but look forward. A giant origin chi vortex hung in front of her, resembling a dragon connecting heaven and earth. At the very bottom of the dragon, Jiang Shan was sitting cross-legged, his aura growing stronger and stronger, as if the cultivation realm barriers no longer existed, shattering one after another. Galaxy 2 Dan early stage. Galaxy 2 Dan middle stage. Galaxy 2 Dan late stage. In just a few dozen breaths, he had gone from Galaxy 1 Dan peak to 2 Dan peak. An entire cosmos bridge realm pinnacle advancement. Sigh. Strength dissipated, the origin chi dragon was completely devoured, and Jiang Shan slowly opened his eyes, shaking his head with a wry smile, a tinge of disappointment on his face. I didn't break through to Galaxy 3rd level. Somewhat weak. Last night, he had devoured all 3000 destiny plates given by the other party. The Yuking destiny had indeed improved a lot, Though still a great distance away from a breakthrough to the third level, it had made significant progress in the second realm. This had allowed him to charge into Galaxy 2 Dan without any shackles. However, charging into the third level wouldn't be so easy, unless several tens of millions more fragments of the heavens could be found. This level of cultivation should be enough for now. Although he hadn't made a breakthrough, with the cultivation of Galaxy 2 Dan Peak combined with Yuking Destiny, speaking solely of combat strength, even Mo Hong, who was at Galaxy 3 Dan Peak, could be easily slain. Compared to powerhouses like Shi Yunjing and Mo Baiye at Galaxy 6 Dan Peak, he may be far inferior, but in Zui Royal City, he would definitely be considered strong. Knowing that cultivation needed to follow a certain order and it was extremely difficult to advance in cultivation before the heavenly mandate vitality had a breakthrough, Zhang Shan was not troubled. He stood up and turned to look towards Fu Yingying. Just as he was about to explain, he suddenly froze. Immediately, an intent had already reached the new world, appearing in an open space. Yan Master, there's trouble. People from the Mo Blade sect have ambushed the Zhang residence. Hong Yi and Yu Xiaoyu are seriously injured and could die at any time. Liu Mingyu has been captured. An anxious voice rose from the phantasm space. It was Sun Qiang using the new world to send a message to him. He had been cultivating and hadn't noticed before, only hearing it now. An ambush. Mo Blade sect. Zhang Shan's eyes immediately narrowed. Rescue treatment. Min Jiangtao had mentioned that Mo Hong from the Mo Blade sect was secretly inquiring about him. Zhang Shan had also instructed Sun Qiang to investigate, but he hadn't expected them to act so quickly. He had only been at the Fu family for a little over a day and not only was he attacked, but Liu Mingyu was also injured and abducted. The audacity of Zui Royal City was truly astonishing. I need to leave for a bit. After glancing at Fu Yingying, Zhang Shan said, you should focus on your practice and try to enhance your cultivation as much as possible. We will enter Jilin Valley together in 2 days. If this had been before his breakthrough, he might have needed Fu Yingying to send someone to assist him, but now, he no longer needed that. Since the Mo Blade sect was seeking death, he didn't mind giving them an unforgettable lesson. Alright, Fu Yingying nodded, these next few days, I will continue to have people search for the Destiny Plate and gather the remaining 2000 high-tier spirit stones as quickly as possible. Zhang Shan said no more. With a tap of his foot on the ground, he flew away. With his current strength, unless the Fu family activated their formation, keeping him there was nearly impossible. In just a few breaths, he had completely disappeared without a trace. Right after he left, the gate opened and the Fu family master, along with others, walked in. Fu Yi and others hurriedly followed, searching everywhere for that familiar figure. Was it you, who just had a breakthrough? The Fu family master couldn't help but ask. I indeed had some insights. Fu Yingying didn't deny it, instead, she nodded and looked over. Fu family master, please continue to search for the Destiny Plate and training resources. I need to cultivate in seclusion to strive for a higher realm. No problem. Hearing that it was truly her who had broken through, the Fu family master breathed a sigh of relief and excitedly nodded. Where is Zhang Shan? At this point, several girls couldn't find the person they were there to bring food for and couldn't help looking over. He had to return early due to some matters. After explaining, recalling the anxious expression of the young man, Fu Yingying looked at the Fu family master again. Master, you might need to send a few elders to Zhang Shi's residence. If Zhang Shan needs anything, be ready to help him. We absolutely can't let anything happen to him. I'll arrange it right away. The Fu family master replied. Zhang Shan, who had not yet advanced to the Galaxy realm, could fight with Shen Wujun of Galaxy 3 Dan. His talent was astonishing, and since he was also the charmed target of Fu Yingying, he naturally needed to be well protected. The Fu family's elders, all possessing the strength of Galaxy tiers 4 and 5, might not be able to handle Mo Baiye alone, but 3 or 4 together would definitely be able to fight. Did he leave? Seeing Zhang Shan had left, a deep disappointment appeared in the eyes of the girls. They had finally made food to please him, but they didn't even get to see him. He has already returned, so he must be at Zhang Shi's residence. Let's just go find him there, Fu Kangking spoke up. Right. The other 2 girls' eyes lit up. Stop looking for now, and focus on your practice, alright. Don't you want to accompany him to Jilin Valley and seek opportunities? Fu Yingying interrupted their actions and spoke. This, Fu Kunking, Fu Jinging, and Fu Yi fell silent simultaneously. Even if their fox charm skill was strong, without sufficient cultivation, they wouldn't dare to recklessly enter the heaven mandate domain, rank 21 stone. Jiang Shan was definitely going, and if they didn't, wouldn't they miss the chance to share life and death with him? No, I need to go practice. Fu Kunking turned and walked outside. I'm going too. Fu Yi and the others nodded simultaneously. Asking them to die might not frighten or perplex them, but the thought of never seeing Jiang Shan again was unbearable. Still can't handle you. A bunch of flirtatious foxes competing with me for Jiang Shan. Dream on. Seeing them leave, Fu Yingying muttered. She knew exactly what they were up to, they just weren't quite on her level yet. Ellipsis. After sprinting all the way, it took them just over 10 minutes to return to Jiang Shi's residence, where upon entering the courtyard, Jiang Shan couldn't contain himself any longer and bellowed, Sun Qiang. Young master. Sun Qiang hurried over. How is it? Paying no heed to the details, he looked over. Sun Qiang said, they're in that room, having taken a recovery pill and fully stemmed the bleeding, but their injuries were too severe, and they haven't regained consciousness yet. Jiang Shan walked into the room and indeed saw the girl whose body was adorned with bells that tinkled as she moved. Now, her eyes were tightly shut as she lay not far off, a ghastly saber wound on her abdomen from which blood still oozed. It seemed she had been unconscious since last night, never waking up. Approaching her, Jiang Shan touched her finger to her temple, and his mind shook as a book appeared abruptly. After flipping it open and taking a glance, he finally let out a sigh of relief. Though the injuries were severe, timely medical attention and the sustaining power of the pill meant there was no risk to her life. The principal cause of her coma was the Mo blade energy nested within her. This force meandered slowly through her body. Unless removed, it would leave her forever in her current state, unable to awaken. For anyone else, unless their cultivation was far superior to Mo Hong's, it would be difficult to nullify. Moreover, because the blade energy roamed and wasn't fixed in one location, a reckless treatment was risky. But Jiang Shan was different. Already mastering Mo Dao destiny and possessing the library of Heaven's Path, he could always find the damaging force within. After observing for a while, he formed his finger into a sword and pressed at a specific point. 7 consecutive presses, hitting 7 acupoints, then seizing the air, he forcibly extracted a bundle of blade energy that wriggled like a worm, struggling incessantly yet futilely. Mo Hong. Identifying the tier of the blade energy, Jiang Shan understood who had left it, narrowing his eyes. A dragon has its scales, which if touched mean death. Others targeting him might be dismissed with a laugh, but an attack on his student meant a death wish. He pressed a few more points on the girl's body, extracting 2 more strands of blade energy. Only then did Yu Xiaoyu slowly come to. Seeing her teacher in front of her, she immediately became anxious. Teacher, you must save Mengyu, she's been captured. You rest and recover, leave the rest to me. After comforting her, Jiang Shan went over to Hong Yi, applying the same method to extract the roaming Mo blade energy from his body. With the blade energy's pressure gone, this weakest disciple also awakened. Having done all this, Jiang Shan circulated his strength, and 2 streams of Heaven's Path Zhenqi entered the 2 disciples' bodies. Nourished by the Heaven's Path Zhenqi, their wounds recovered visibly to the naked eye, fully healed in just a few breaths. This. Sitting up, Hong Yi and Yu Xiaoyu looked at each other, each shocked. They knew their teacher had superb skills and strong medical knowledge, but experiencing such a grievous injury healing so quickly firsthand, how had he done it? What exactly happened last night? Ignoring their astonishment, Jiang Shan looked over. We were practicing. Yu Xiaoyu, quick-witted, recounted the events of the previous night in detail and brought him to the courtyard where the battle had taken place. Seeing the saber chi and traces left on the ground, Jiang Shan deduced the dangers of the situation, his expression darkening. To openly attack his student, Mo Baiye and Mo Hong were indeed audacious. But, had he not discreetly sent a message to inform the other party of his identity and origins? Why would they still dare to make a move against him? Yan master, they revealed their identities and left such obvious traces, clearly aiming to provoke you into rushing over for a rescue. Perhaps, Mo Baye has already prepared a sky and earth net, waiting for you to enter. Seeing his iron blue complexion, Sun Qian hurriedly spoke up. I know. Zhang Shan nodded. He didn't need the other to tell him. Mo Baye must have been prepared. Otherwise, he could have simply kidnapped the person quietly without being so brazen. In this one night, have you checked where Mo Baye and Mo Hong have gone? He knew Sun Qian's capability in handling matters. Even if unable to contact him, he definitely wouldn't have been idling around. The people I sent just returned and said that both of them had been at Heaven Mandate Hall these past 2 days, Sun Qian said. Zhang Shan looked over, puzzled. Sun Qian explained, after the collapse of Heaven Mandate Hall, people were employed for reconstruction. Presently, all wise hall masters and elders are gathering at the temporary headquarters in the eastern part of the city. Not only is Mo Baye the leader of the Mo Blade sect, but he is also a wise hall master of the Zhou dynasty's Heaven Mandate Hall, and Mo Hong is an elder. These 2 days, due to the events of divine domain flowing colors, numerous powerhouses are assembling at Heaven Mandate Hall, preparing to enter Jilin Valley afterwards to seize opportunities and capture Empyrean Kongxi. Zhang Shan suddenly understood. Even the Fu family, such a clan, had made advanced preparations, so naturally, Heaven Mandate Hall wouldn't be lagging behind. After all, the so-called divine domain flowing colors were likely provoked by the Mandate Chaos Master. If not handled well, Shi Yunjing, the Hall Master, might even be dismissed. Since it was an activity involving the entire Heaven Mandate Hall, as a wise Hall Master and Elder, they surely could not be absent. After pondering for a moment, Zhang Shan asked, Heaven Mandate Hall, bustling with people, naturally wouldn't keep the severely injured Liu Mingyu with them. Have you found out where she might possibly be confined? Sun Qian shook his head. I couldn't determine that, but according to what I know, there are only 2 places. First, the Mo Blade sect headquarters in the west of the city. Second, Mo Baye's residence in the city center. These 2 places are under his control, secured tightly like iron plates, making them difficult to investigate. If someone were to be kidnapped and held, it would likely be in one of these 2 places. Your guess is good. Both places are probably not where she is. Just then, a faint voice sounded as Min Jiangtao walked through the door and approached. Lord Zhang. Zhang Shan looked over, his brow furrowing. Not there. You knew that my disciple was captured. Feeling an immense pressure assault him like a tsunami, sweat beaded on Min Jiangtao's forehead, his complexion turning pale as he hurriedly bowed. Lord Zhang, yes, Butler's son informed me and asked for my help in searching. Zhang Shan turned to Sun Qian, seeing him nod hurriedly. Yan master, I really couldn't find them, so I sought his help. Zhang Shan then retracted the giant wave formation within him. Why do you say Liu Mingyu isn't in those 2 places? Yesterday afternoon, I received a command from my teacher to handle a matter for the Mo Blade sect. By the time I returned, it was already late. By then, Miss Liu had already been captured. I infiltrated the Mo Blade sect and Mo residence overnight and even asked around. Neither Mo Hong nor my teacher had returned. Quickly, Min Jiangtao explained everything. It seemed Mo Baye was aware of his current good relationship with Zhang Shan and had intentionally sent him away before making a move. Zhang Shan remained silent, but his thoughts flickered. Actually, without needing his search, Mo Baye wouldn't keep her there. Through Min Jiangtao and Qian Yuhung of the Wangxian sect, he had subtly informed the other party that his identity was noble. For Mo Baye to brazenly hide Liu Mingyu in those 2 places, if discovered, he wouldn't even need to act himself. Just contacting Heaven Mandate Hall would be enough trouble for him. He must have hidden her somewhere unaffiliated with him on the surface. That way, even if his backing power found out, they couldn't pin the crime on him. After all, he had an alibi of being at Heaven Mandate Hall. Do you know of any other places he could hide people? Zhang Shan looked at him again. To speak of hiding, the Zhou dynasty is vast, anywhere is possible, but for him, I do know one place. Min Jiangtao pondered for a moment, then spoke. Zhang Shan looked over. Min Jiangtao continued, everyone knows the teacher has married 7 concubines, enjoying the blessings of many, but it's not just that, he also has a lover, just not far from here in Lai Lane. This lover was once the top performer of the Sui building but offended someone and nearly was killed. Saved by the teacher thereafter, after he bought her freedom, he secretly provided for her. I helped with buying supplies before, so I know. Zhang Shan frowned. Lai Lane. Sun Qian hurriedly explained, reporting to Yan Master, it's indeed very close, less than 500 meters away from here. Since he has already married 7 concubines, marrying one more wouldn't seem a big issue. Why secretly provide for her? Zhang Shan asked. It wasn't a monogamous system, and given his high status and identity, there was no need for secrecy. The specific reason, I'm not sure, it must relate to the teacher's identity. Taking a brothel woman home could greatly impact his reputation. Min Jiangtao said. Zhang Shan nodded. As a Vice Hall Master of Heaven Mandate Hall, a founder of Fragments of the Heavens, marrying a prostitute would indeed be criticized. What cultivation level does this concubine possess? Zhang Shan continued. Min Jiangtao thought for a moment, not too high, probably only spool 6 dan or 7 dan, but there is a nanny who is in charge and quite strong, reaching Galaxy 2 dan. The reason I think Miss Liu might be taken there is that the residence is very spacious and discreet. Not to speak of bringing one person there, even 10 or 20, no one would find them in a short time. More buyers love her outside, a place you just happen to visit, and it's quite spacious, suitable for hiding people. Zhang Shan processed everything said in his mind. Suddenly his eyes narrowed, a chilling glint passing through. Min Jiangtao, leading me into a trap, do you wish to die? Boom! As the words ended, a fierce killing aura surged down. Zhang. Lord Zhang. Feeling the wrath before him, Min Jiangtao trembled, his face instantly turning ashen. Deny it. Zhang Shan snorted coldly. Everything was too coincidental. To say there was no conspiracy, even he himself wouldn't believe it. I didn't. Knowing that the other party truly wanted to kill him, and that a single thought was enough, Min Jiangtao suppressed his panic and quickly shook his head. I have absolutely no such intentions. If I harbored harmful thoughts towards you, my fate would end immediately, and I would die on the spot. Relax your mind, don't resist. Zhang Shan looked over. Yes. Min Jiangtao quickly nodded, standing still. Zhang Shan extended his finger towards his forehead and pointed, and in the next moment, countless mountains and rivers of the new world burned to ashes. The sole guiding formula of the master-teacher continent does not seek to know the other's thoughts, only to ascertain whether he is lying or not. After a moment, Zhang Shan withdrew his finger. Through the investigation of the sole guiding formula, the other party hadn't lied, which meant the facts were coincidentally true. No, wait, I understand now. After pondering for a moment, Zhang Shan had an epiphany and waved his hand. Lead the way to Lai Lane. Sun Qian, you stay here and take care of Xiaoyu and Hong Yi. The two flew swiftly, one after the other. In just over 10 breaths, they arrived outside a massive courtyard. The yard covered more than 10 acres, and all the buildings were not tall but rather simple. From afar, it was covered in verdant greenery, filled with vegetation, like an uninhabited garden. This Lai Lane was very secluded, with not many shops and few people. From any perspective, this place was indeed, as Min Jiangtao had said, very suitable for hiding someone. Never mind one Liu Mingyu, even 100 could be covertly hidden without notice. Lord Zhang, this is the place I was talking about. Shall we sneak in to search, or shall we barge in? I can easily kill that manager nanny who's at Galaxy 2 Dan Peak. Min Jiangtao looked over. Having just been suspected, he wanted to show his worth. Without answering his question, Zhang Shan picked up a stone and threw it toward the courtyard. It hit something with a plop sound, but inside, there was no movement at all, as if no one lived there. After doing this, Zhang Shan made no further moves but stood quietly in place. Lord Zhang. Min Jiangtao looked over, puzzled. Inside, there are 5 experts. The weakest has reached Galaxy 4 Dan, and the strongest Galaxy 5 Dan, Zhang Shan whispered. 5 experts. Lord, I really didn't know. Startled, Min Jiangtao quickly waved his hands. If you had known, you would have died just now. Zhang Shan said, waving his hand. When he threw the stone earlier, although the experts hidden in the courtyard didn't respond or make any movements, their strength had quietly circulated. With just this, he could use the Library of Heaven's path to find out the identities and origins of those hiding. One glance was enough to confirm the number and strength of these people. As for the man before him, having been probed with the soul guiding formula, it was clear he was unaware, and the reason was quite simple. Since Mo Baye knew that Min Jiangtao had betrayed him and that the latter knew about his lover's existence, he took advantage of this, setting an ambush in advance, waiting for Zhang Shan to fall into the trap. If he could kill him, it would definitely solve a lot of trouble. If not, he could at least gauge Zhang Shan's strength in advance and take measures accordingly, while also creating discord between him and Min Jiangtao. Truly a strategy that kills two birds with one stone. He was worthy of being a genius who had independently comprehended a fragment of the heavens. Indeed, he wasn't as simple as imagined. However, since the ambush had been discovered in advance, it no longer held any significance. Are we still going in? Min Jiangtao couldn't help but look over. No. Zhang Shan shook his head. Even though he knew the flaws of these people and their backgrounds, he was currently only at Galaxy 2 Dan peak cultivation. While he could fight against those of Galaxy 3 Dan, and even 4 Dan, facing 5 Dan was a bit too much, and rashly charging in would not guarantee victory. Moreover, since it was a trap, Liu Mingyu was most likely not there. Rushing in would only help the enemy test his own strength, which was completely unnecessary. Min Jiangtao said, "Then what do we?" Zhang Shan pondered for a moment, then took out a card and handed it over. It was the sky blue card. After the last incident, he knew this item was very important for the Wangxiang sect. Since that was the case, why not take advantage of it? Take this card, go to the Wangxiang sect and find their leader Qian Yuhun. Tell him there are several villains from the hunting list hiding here, and ask him to send people to besiege them. Make sure he brings several experts. This, accepting the card, Min Jiangtao blinked several times, somewhat stupefied. Asking the Wangxiang sect to send people to besiege. Such a niche instruction. Would they really listen? Still, since Zhang Shan had instructed him so, he didn't dare to retort and immediately nodded, yes. Where exactly is the Mo Blade sect? Tell me in detail, including its structure, personnel, and their strengths. Zhang Shan continued to ask. Yes, Min Jiangtao immediately recounted in detail. As Mo Bai's second disciple, he knew everything about the Mo Blade sect like the back of his hand, and soon Zhang Shan had a good understanding of this force. The strongest of the Mo Blade sect was naturally its leader, Mo Bai, at Galaxy 6 Dan Peak, followed by Mo Hong, at Galaxy 3 Dan Peak, and then Min Jiangtao, at Galaxy 3 Dan Early Stage. Beyond them, the strongest was merely at Galaxy 2 Dan Early Stage, and then there were about 20 or so at the first level. The Dharma form realm had the most members, over 200, with a total number exceeding 300. Although it couldn't be considered a particularly large force, it was definitely not weak. All these people practiced the Mo Dao, some had comprehended the first realm, and some the second, constantly providing Mo Baye with strength and insights. This was his biggest support for assaulting the fourth level and maintaining his current strength. Lord, although our teacher has been modest with us, concealing the true essence of his cultivation, but these brothers and sisters are innocent. I hope you can show mercy. After explaining the situation of the Mo Blade sect, Min Jiangtao hesitated for a bit, then knelt down with determination. Following this person who practiced a more profound saber art, the illusion of Mo Baye was shattered, but he couldn't bear to see his fellow disciples slaughtered. If Zhang Shan was inquiring so meticulously, it was very likely he would storm in. And once he decided to kill, those fellow disciples would stand no chance. I'm not an executioner, I won't easily kill. Rest assured. Zhang Shan waved his hand, not expecting him to think this way. Then, Min Jiangtao looked over, puzzled. Knowing that Liu Mingyu was not likely in the Mo Blade sect, why inquire so in detail if not to go on a killing spree? What was the purpose? Mo Baye captured my disciple and forced me into a trap. Naturally, I have to return a gift to him. Wouldn't it be rude not to reciprocate his hard work? With a slight smile, Zhang Shan's mouth curled up. Mo Blade sect. Mo Blade sect, in the Zhou Yi dynasty, was a massive gate and always bustling with activity. Just after dawn broke, a chorus of synchronized shouts could be heard emanating from the spacious courtyard's drill ground, where a square formation of over 300 disciples, bare-chested and wielding more sabers, vigorously executed their chops. Each slash was imbued with profound mystery, the faint heavenly mandate vitality swirling in the air. Chen Yuan was a disciple of Mo Hong, and although he was from the third generation of the Mo Blade sect, his talent was exceptional. His cultivation had already reached the pinnacle of Galaxy Wandan, even surpassing Mo King from earlier days. He was leading all the disciples in their morning practice. I will perform this move, Heavenly White Crane, only once. How much you can learn depends on your talent and comprehension. With effort, he clasped a Mo saber in his right hand. Chen Yuan gave it a slight shake, and the long saber hummed lightly as a formidable strength twirled around the blade. Whoosh! The Mo saber traced an arc through the air and struck a nearby rock, sparking and leaving a deep mark. The Heavenly White Crane is among the most powerful battle techniques of the Mo blade martial skill. By using the full strength of the body for a courageous chop, successful practice will leave a saber imprint on this rice green rock. Practice well and strive to achieve this soon. Stowing his saber, Chen Yuan exhaled and spoke with a smile. Yes, the crowd looked at the saber mark on the rice green rock, each filled with excitement. This type of rice green rock was extremely hard, no less resilient than steel. To leave such a mark with a casual chop, if it were to strike a person, wouldn't it kill them instantly? It's no wonder the Mo saber is so terrifyingly powerful. Instantly, a sense of belonging and pride for the Mo blade sect welled up in them. Just as everyone was eager to start practicing, a faint voice rang out, "Not bad, but there are many flaws in the technique." Chen Yuan startled, about to scold when he saw a tall figure entering through the gate. His expression changed, and he hurriedly went to greet him, "Grand Teacher." It wasn't just anyone, it was the founder of the Mo Sabers, Elder Bai Ye. At that moment, Elder Bai Ye, dressed in a slate grey robe, approached with an indifferent face. Although he held no weapon, the sword intent emanating from him trembled one's soul. "Grand Teacher, why are you here?" Chen Yuan was curious as he approached. Hadn't the Grand Teacher and his teacher gone to a meeting at Heaven Mandate Hall? Why would he have the time to visit the Mo Blade sect now? The Heaven Mandate domain is about to open, and our Mo Blade sect will definitely want a share. I came to see for myself, to offer some personal guidance and strive to have you all increase your cultivation swiftly so you don't fall behind. As Elder Bai Ye stood before them, his voice was cool. Yes. Upon hearing this, not only Chen Yuan, but everyone's eyes lit up with excitement. Although the Mo Blade sect was created by him, he had not given many lessons here previously. With his direct guidance, everyone would surely progress quickly. The Heavenly White Crane that Chen Yuan just performed had no issues with the technique, but the conception had many mistakes. The technique should not be used old. Especially with the Mo saber, its strength must flow continuously to unleash greater power. Now, I will perform it for you once, so watch closely. Elder Bai Ye reached out midair, and the Mo saber in Chen Yuan's hand immediately flew through the air, landing in his palm. In the next moment, the founder of the Mo Blade sect turned gracefully and slashed through the air. His movement was very similar to Chen Yuan's but executed more elegantly and effortlessly. Bam! The Mo saber landed on the rice green rock, not sparking nor leaving a mark, but when he lifted the saber, the rice green rock exploded into powder with a loud bam. Everyone fell silent, their eyes wide with excitement. This was the power aided by the momentum of the saber, instantly infused into the rice green rock, causing the rock to give way. Alright, I am going to teach you the method of operating divine energy now. Having demonstrated the battle techniques, Elder Bai Ye did not hold back at all, explaining the operation of divine energy in detail. Chen Yuan listened intently, then a hint of confusion appeared in his eyes. "Grand Teacher, why does it feel like what the teacher explained is missing something compared to your explanation? Elder Mo is my disciple, and he hasn't learned everything. What I explained is the most correct. Practice diligently and don't be lazy." Elder Bai Ye said indifferently. "Yes." Chen Yuan quickly nodded. Start operating the Zhenki as I have described." Elder Bai Ye was not stingy, his voice carrying a hint of ethereal quality. In a flash, streams of heavenly mandate vitality mixed with origin chi rushed from the emptiness, entering everyone's bodies. Chen Yuan and everyone present suddenly felt that even without practicing on their own, the Zhenqi in their bodies could move throughout their bodies automatically following the elder's words, slowly enhancing their cultivation and deepening their understanding of the saber art. As expected of the founder. This is indeed the correct method of practicing the Mo blade. What we did before was all wrong. I feel like with this method of practice, I could break through in just 2 days. Feeling the speed of power accumulation inside their bodies getting faster, everyone clenched their fists in excitement. The saber art and cultivation method taught by this grand teacher were far more powerful than what they had learned before. Most importantly, there seemed to be a magical ability in his voice that allowed for fast understanding and rapid breakthroughs. Soon, Master Mo's voice ceased, and Chen Yuan could not hold back any longer. He stepped forward. Grand teacher, I'd like to give it a try. After speaking, he took the Mo Dao and swung it, creating a gust. The glint of the saber, along with the power, pulsated ceaselessly. A stream of pure heavenly mandate vitality moved throughout his body, and the next moment, the saber's edge landed on another piece of rice green rock. Crack! The rock cracked, spreading over 3 inches. Just now, only a saber mark had been made, but now, a crack over 3 inches had been created. The grand teacher had given guidance for just a quarter of an hour, yet he had boosted the power so drastically. That's incredible. He sheathed the Mo Dao, exhaled, and looked excitedly at the elderly man before him, his admiration evident. Not bad, you have already grasped quite a bit. As long as you strictly follow the practice I have taught, your mastery of the Mo Dao will surely leap forward, even further. Elder Bai Ye nodded in satisfaction. Thank you, Grand Teacher, for imparting the ultimate skill. Chen Yuan kneeled on the ground. No need to be polite, everyone just continue to practice well. From now on, follow the practice I transmitted today, no matter what anyone else says, do not change it. Elder Bai Ye waved his hand. Yes, everyone nodded uniformly. Chen Yuan's progress was clear for all to see. The teachings from the Grand Teacher himself were definitely the most correct and they were resolute in not changing it. I will now impart to you a set of even more advanced inner breathing methods, also modify what you have practiced before. With a satisfied nod, Elder Bai Ye's cold voice continued to resonate. Mo Bai Ye suffers a backlash. In the east of Zui City, at the temporary office of Heaven Mandate Hall. Hallmaster Shi Yunjing sat upright in the central seat, with Elder Bai Ye and several vice hallmasters seated on either side, with a crowd of elders and managers below. Divine domain flowing colors have appeared in Jilin Valley, indicating not only that the Mandate Chaos Master has not died, but also that he has penetrated the core of the entire Heaven Mandate domain. This time, when we enter, we must deal with it carefully. We need to not only capture and kill this Mandate Chaos Master but also take complete control of Jilin Valley. Looking around, Shi Yunjing's voice was solemn. Yes, everyone nodded in unison. Jilin Valley, ranking 21st among the famous Heaven Mandate domains on the mainland, has suddenly opened, which will surely attract countless experts. Also be careful, everyone. If you encounter danger, send a message immediately. Shi Yunjing continued, earnestly explaining the upcoming situation. He had only spoken halfway when Elder Bai Ye suddenly turned pale and stood up hastily. Whoosh! He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood violently, his body involuntarily shaking a couple of times, his complexion deathly pale. Elder Bai Ye, what's wrong with you? Seeing that he had interrupted his speech with such an appearance, Shi Yunjing was slightly displeased but still looked over. I'm fine. Elder Bai Ye gestured with his hand, just about to continue speaking when his face changed again, and another mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out violently. Not only that, but his cultivation, which had reached the Galaxy 6 Dan peak and was about to break through at any moment, suddenly deflated like a pierced balloon. It rapidly decreased several minor stages, dropping to Galaxy 6 Dan early stage. Is this backlash from the fragments of the heavens? Not only did Shi Yunjing realize this, but others also understood as they looked at each other, somewhat stupefied. Ordinary backlash, letting someone drop from Galaxy 6 Dan peak to the late stage, was already terrifying. To drop so much in one breath, what on earth happened? After hesitating for a moment, Shi Yunjing looked over. Is this, all your disciples have rebelled? That was the only possibility for such severe backlash. Whoosh! As his words fell, Elder Mo Hong, sitting among the elders, also spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His cultivation, in the blink of an eye, dropped from Galaxy 3 Dan Peak to 2 Dan Peak, directly descending an entire Cosmos Bridge realm pinnacle. Not only that, but his grasp on his fragments of the heavens also kept fluctuating, as if they might collapse at any moment. The backlash he received was even more severe than Elder Bai Ye's. Teacher, Mo Hong's vision darkened, and he finally realized, it must be, something has happened with the Mo Blade sect. Yes. After taking a few breaths, Elder Bai Ye finally recovered a bit, his fists involuntarily clenched. The only possibility for such severe backlash at once was that the entire Mo Blade sect had rebelled. Only the sect that he had created himself, by completely betraying him, could have caused this situation. Having joined the sect, they had been thoroughly indoctrinated. Although they might not be utterly loyal, they were almost there. To rebel simultaneously in such a short time. What exactly happened? Hallmaster, there's a problem with the Mo Blade sect. I'd like to go there personally to handle it. Enduring the pain brought by the backlash, Elder Bai Ye bowed with a clenched fist. Quick, go see it. Shi Yunjing paused for a moment and said, I'll come with you. To be honest, he was also curious. All right. Seeing the sect leader willing to follow, Shi Yunjing no longer said more, swiftly flying towards the direction of Mo Blade sect with Mo Hong. Half an hour later, they pushed open the gate. Ha ha, ha ha. Before even entering the courtyard, they heard the orderly sound of practice. Bypassing the veranda, they immediately saw over 300 disciples standing neatly on the training ground, each with a heavy Mo Dao in hand, flipping it through the air, all unleashing great strength. Are they all seriously practicing? Mo Baiye was stunned. He had thought that everyone from the Mo Blade sect had fled, which would explain the scene, but here they were, still practicing Mo Dao, with not one slacking off. If that was the case, why did they suffer a backlash? At that moment, Mo Hong, standing to the side, couldn't help but look over, his voice trembling slightly. Teacher, they're practicing, but I can't sense any increase in strength. Mo Baiye immediately sensed his surroundings, and indeed, he couldn't feel any heavenly mandate vitality at all. It was as if these people were practicing a cultivation method that had nothing to do with him, like a foreign heavenly destiny. Yet, what the people before him were practicing was clearly the battle technique he had created, Heavenly White Crane. That's not right, this technique is wrong, it's more powerful. He quickly sensed something was amiss. The Mo Blade martial skills he had taught were altered, the weakened versions, and it was nearly impossible for anyone to surpass him even if they could practice them. But the technique the people were practicing now was not only complete but even more sophisticated than what he had mastered. Apparently, the missing power had been restored and even deepened with profound understanding and insight. What exactly is going on with this set of skills you all are practicing? Mo Baiye could no longer restrain himself and looked towards Chen Yuan not far away. Chen Yuan rushed over excitedly, clasping his fists. Master, the heavenly white crane you explained indeed surpasses the others. Everyone is practicing with great enthusiasm, no one is slacking off. I explained. Mo Baiye was utterly confused. When did I explain? Just half an hour ago, you not only taught us the proper use of this martial skill but also imparted a more profound cultivation mantra. Now, everyone's strength has visibly improved. Chen Yuan was excited. Following the method taught by the master, he broke through to the Galaxy 2 Dan early stage within just a short hour, and not just him, nearly everyone present made a breakthrough. This alone was enough to show how formidable the person before them was. Thinking this, his admiration only grew. Improvement. Cultivation mantra. Mo Baiye was utterly baffled. I've been in the Heaven Mandate Hall in a meeting all this time, I haven't come back at all, nor have I taught you any martial skills or cultivation techniques. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Indeed, I can confirm, Master Mo had been in the Heaven Mandate Hall all this time. Shi Yunjing said from one side. Master, stop joking, if not you, who else could impart such profound Mo Blade martial skills to us? Who else could teach us such pure cultivation techniques? Chen Yuan gave an awkward smile. They could confirm that what they were practicing was indeed Mo Dao destiny. Not only had their cultivation improved, but their understanding of Mo Dao had also deepened significantly, and this was no falsehood. Yes, Master, the one who taught us was indeed Mo Dao destiny. There's no mistake in what we practiced. Mo Dao was created by you, naturally, only you, Master, could impart it. The disciples who were practicing stopped and hearing the conversation, couldn't help but chime in, discussions flurrying about. The imparted Mo Dao naturally commands the Mo Dao destiny. Mo Baye paused, a name surging to his mind, his body turning cold. Could it be him? Why is this happening? Min Jiangtao and that Liu Mingyu both practiced the Mo blade martial skill, yet he couldn't feel any benefits at all. He initially thought it was just an anomaly. After all the confusion, not only could it be replicated, they even destroyed his stronghold. Jiang Shan, his teeth clenched, his body trembling ceaselessly. He had captured the other's disciple as a threat, but in response, the other had incited rebellion within his entire Mo blade sect. That slap was delivered both swiftly and accurately. However, wasn't the Mo Dao a fragment of the heavens that he had comprehended himself? Why could the other person practice it and even snatch away his disciples? Mandate Chaos Master, thus Jiang Shan is definitely a Mandate Chaos Master. Mo Baye's pupils suddenly contracted. Lin Biang, Zhu Xin, and others didn't know much about Mandate Chaos Masters, nor did they explain clearly, but he knew in great detail. Such people not only possessed high talent and strength but more importantly, could disrupt the established patterns of destiny. It was like the current situation. Mo Dao was created by him under the condition of being unique destiny, which meant only he should be able to use it. Even if others could learn it, they would be limited by his controls, unless they could surpass him. The other had not only practiced it without his knowledge but also incited his disciples to rebel. They had already broken the rule of unique destiny. Breaking the rules was forbidden. This was also why, once a Mandate Chaos Master appeared, they would immediately be besieged by the Heaven Mandate Hall. He thought there was only one Mandate Chaos Master in Jilin Valley, yet another had emerged unexpectedly. Master Mo, what's wrong with you? Sensing something off with him, Shi Yunjing asked from his side. Reporting to the Hall Master, I'm fine. After hesitating for a moment, Mo Baye did not voice his suspicion. Every Mandate Chaos Master harbored countless secrets. If he could capture and kill one himself, the benefits would be enormous. But once the news leaked and Shi Yunjing, the Hall Master, personally took action, even with his strong cultivation, he would definitely miss his chance. So, for now, it was best not to speak out. If he really couldn't kill him, there would still be time to say something. Fine. Shi Yunjing was puzzled. Then why did you just vomit so much blood? Fine, yet vomiting blood and losing cultivation. Could it get any more arbitrary? I just suddenly felt an itch in my throat. It's uncomfortable but not a big deal. Fearing further inquiry from the Hall Master, Mo Baye looked around and with a cold snort declared, forget the saber art I just passed on to you. Practice the battle techniques I taught you before. Master, we can't forget them. The battle techniques we practiced before were too weak. Yeah, what we practiced before is trash. What the Master just taught us, that's the true Mo blade. Everyone shook their heads in unison. It's easy to adapt to luxury, but difficult to return to frugality. Having practiced the complete version of the Mo blade martial skill, how could they revert to an important version? Mo Hong, I am leaving this matter to you. Ensure they return to their former state. Seeing the resistance from everyone, Mo Baye waved his hand. Yes. Understanding his teacher's intention, Mo Hong responded and approached the others. You've heard the teacher. The cultivation technique and battle techniques you've just practiced are wrong. Practice what I taught you before. But we all feel it's very good. How could it possibly be wrong? Why do I feel that what you previously taught us was the mistake? Right, the battle techniques you taught us before were obscure and difficult to execute, very inconvenient. But what we've learned now is extremely useful. People immediately protested. How dare you? Mo Hong's face turned iron blue. Teacher, whether it's right or wrong, why don't I demonstrate it for you, and then you can judge? Seeing the people arguing non-stop, Chen Yuan stepped forward, his face a picture of respect. Mo Hong nodded. Chen Yuan sighed with relief, explained the heavenly white crane he had just learned in detail, and demonstrated it at the same time. After watching the opponent's saber art, Mo Hong fell into deep thought. He had studied the Mo blade martial skill for several decades and knew every move and posture like the back of his hand. The techniques Chen Yuan had just demonstrated indeed perfectly remedied the previous defects during practice, making them more complete and more powerful. No wonder everyone was unwilling to practice the old version, even himself. He didn't want to practice it any longer either. With a flick of his wrist, a Mo Dao appeared in his palm, his inner Zhenqi circulated as Chen Yuan had just described, and he suddenly pivoted and slashed at a rice-green rock not far away. Bang! The rice-green rock cracked open and turned into dust. His pupils shrank and Mo Hong's body trembled. The same moves had always given a feeling of constipation, as if something was blocked, but now, it was incomparably smooth. This feeling was unprecedented. PFFT. As he was learning the new battle techniques, he pondered about how to capture Mo Baye. Blood spurted from his mouth once more. His cultivation dropped again, now to the Galaxy 5 Dan peak. The betrayal of his last disciple had caused him the greatest injury. Quote ? Mo Baye's vision darkened. He looked at Mo Hong, who was performing the saber art, and wished he could tear him to pieces. I freaking sent you to rally everyone to practice the saber art I taught, and in the blink of an eye, why are you practicing someone else's? Is my throat itchy again? Shi Yunjing wore a baffled expression. Mo Baye's body trembled, and he felt a desire to cry. After struggling to catch his breath for quite a while, he finally managed to calm his raging emotions and bitingly focused on Mo Hong again. I don't care the reason, you must make everyone practice the battle techniques and cultivation methods I taught. Yes, Mo Hong nodded. Although he also felt that what his teacher taught might not be quite right, since the other had said so, he likewise didn't dare to object. You handle this here. Knowing that staying further would only make the hallmaster more suspicious, Mo Baye said no more. He made arrangements for Mo Hong and was about to leave the courtyard when he saw an old nanny hurriedly approaching. Master. Upon seeing her, Mo Baye frowned. It was no one else but the nanny from the galaxy realm he had deployed to watch over his lover. Shouldn't she be together with the lover in the ambushes he had arranged? What was she doing here? Could it be? Mo Baye's eyes brightened, but he kept his composure. He had laid a sky and earth net, waiting for the Jiang Shan to fall into it. Could it be, he had already been caught by the many masters he had ambushed? Master, just now, a bunch of masters from Wangxian sect suddenly poured in, stormed into the courtyard, killing and capturing the masters you brought. Even Lady Yun was taken. The nanny hastily spoke, her voice sounding almost tearful. What? Mo Baye's body swayed once more, nearly fainting on the spot. Wangxian sect, why is Wangxian sect capturing my people? They had just captured one of their students, and now the entire Mo Blade sect had rebelled. Those lying in ambush were dead or captured. Who could tell me why this is happening? This retaliation was just too fierce. Kidnapping Mo Hong. Lord Zhang, when people from the Wangxian sect saw this card, they not only sent someone over but also allocated half of the bounty rewards for those on the hunting list, a total of 200 million origin currency, all stored on this card. From now on, to buy items, just swipe the card. In the small courtyard of Zhang Shi's residence, Min Jiangtao looked at the young man in front of him, his eyes filled with admiration. He had thought that Master Qian wouldn't even bother with him, but, to his surprise, not only did they send a master, but they also divided the bounty. This degree of recognition and honor was something even his teacher Elder Baiye couldn't achieve. Keep a close watch on Elder Baiye, and, unless something unexpected happens, after facing continuous losses, it's very likely that they'll bring Liu Mingyu out to confront me openly. Jiang Shan instructed as he took the card. Yes, Min Jiangtao and Sun Qian bowed in unison. After 2 consecutive royal flushes, Elder Baiye, overwhelmed, would indeed lose his patience. Once that occurs, they could trace the clues back to Liu Mingyu. Yan Master, what about those Fu family elders waiting in the lounge? How should we handle them? Sun Qian continued. Yan Master and Min Jiangtao had not been gone long when 4 elders from the Fu family arrived, waiting on the spot, all appearing to be quite strong. 30 miles east of the city, there is a small valley. Have them hide there and wait for orders before making a move. Zhang Shan pondered for a moment and then instructed. Yes, Sun Qiang nodded quickly. Having arranged everything, Zhang Shan was no longer in a hurry but sat in his room waiting for news. Soon after 2 hours passed, Min Jiangtao came over, reporting to Lord Zhang. After leaving the Mo Blade sect, Master Mo did not go anywhere else but returned to the Heaven Mandate Hall with Master Shi to continue their meeting, and then he never came out. He went back. Zhang Shan was taken aback. The man could indeed keep his cool. The entire Mo Blade sect had rebelled, all ambush masters had been killed, and yet he could afford to calmly attend a meeting, truly remarkable. What do we do now? Min Jiangtao looked over. Did Mo Hong go along as well? Zhang Shan asked. No, he is still in the Mo Blade sect instructing those disciples in the former saber art, but to little effect, answered Min Jiangtao. Since he is there, then we should take this opportunity to have a look. Zhang Shan smiled. You catch one of my disciples, and I catch one of yours, let's see who can hold out longer. Leaving Jiang Shi's residence, he swiftly flew back to the Mo Blade sect. With a flicker of his body, he once again disguised himself as Elder Bai Ye and strutted in. At that moment, Mo Hong was watching everyone closely, his face impatient. Yes, keep practicing like that. Whether it's right or wrong, you guys aren't qualified to judge. Since the teacher demands this of you, he naturally has his own intentions and plans. Cough cough, Mo Hong. Zhang Shan called out. Mo Hong was startled, hurriedly coming over, bowing with his fists clasped, confusion in his eyes. Teacher. Weren't you with the hall master going back? I was still somewhat unsettled about this place, so I came back again. Zhang Shan waved his hand, looking at the people practicing before him. All right, stop for a moment. I'll teach you a new set of saber techniques so you can learn them as quickly as possible. Yes, Chen Yuan and others didn't suspect anything, continuously nodding. Zhang Shan picked up a Mo Dao from the weapons rack and swiftly chopped it down. Although the motion of swinging the saber wasn't fast, the glint of the saber instantly turned into an arc, slashing toward the distance and giving a sense of temporal blockade, impossible to dodge. This is the skills brother Min Jiangtao practiced. Mo Hong had initially thought nothing of it, but upon seeing this technique, his pupils sharply contracted. This saber technique, having encountered it during a previous fight with Min Jiangtao and recognizing its immense power, was an exclusive battle technique created by Zhang Shan. Now, the teacher, displaying it and teaching it in public. Without a doubt, this person must be an imposter. His heart filled with shock, he quietly glanced at the other person. Both appearance and demeanor, even the understanding of Mo Dao, were exactly the same as the teacher's, with no flaws visible. No wonder Chen Yuan and the others were so absolutely devoted. Nothing he said mattered, and had he not known beforehand, he might have been deceived even if he unexpectedly encountered this situation. No, I must go back immediately and inform the teacher. Realizing the other person's identity, a sense of retreat arose in his heart. Knowing that he was present and still daring to do this, it was evident that the other party had come prepared. While contemplating what excuse to use to leave, he heard the teacher in front of him look over with displeasure. Mo Hong, everyone is practicing, why aren't you? Mo Hong, scratching his head awkwardly, said, I'll start practicing right away. After carefully recalling the movements of the other person, he too swung his Mo Dao and immediately felt streams of Genki coursing through his body. Compared to the skills he had practiced before, it was not only smoother but also much more powerful. He couldn't help but hum softly. No wonder everyone preferred to practice the skills taught by this person over those of their teacher. Indeed, these were far more formidable. Even he felt like he had developed an addiction after practicing, unwilling to stop. Alright, everyone keep practicing seriously. Mo Hong, come with me. Seeing everyone practicing again, signifying a complete break from Elder Bai Ye, Zhang Shan smiled slightly. Yes, Mo Hong nodded and followed closely behind, walking out of the Mo Blade sect. Teacher, I'm really sorry, I just remembered there's something I didn't bring. I'll go fetch it now and then come to find you. After walking just a few steps along the street, Mo Hong slapped his forehead and looked over with an embarrassed face. Something. No need to fetch it, just come with me. Jiang Shan knew his intentions well, clearly wanting to find an opportunity to escape. He smiled slightly and flipped his hand, striking towards Mo Hong. Teacher, you. Mo Hong thought he had disguised himself well, but he didn't expect the other to make a move in public, causing him to retreat in fright. Just as he was about to draw his Mo Dao in defense, he saw that the teacher's hand had already seized his pulse. A few days ago, he had sparred with Jiang Shan, who only had the cultivation of the Dharma form realm. With his full strength, he could easily kill him. But now, before he could react, he was captured, the strength and speed. Galaxy 2 Dan Peak. How could he have improved so fast? Instantly, he realized the true strength of the other person. Mo Hong wanted to resist, but felt his whole body was numb and incapacitated. The Dharma form realm could fight with him for dozens of moves without falling behind, and now with such significant improvement, he obviously could not contend anymore. Mo Hong, come with the teacher. Holding his pulse, Jiang Shan smiled gently, let's show you how much regard Elder Bai Ye truly has for you in his heart. So strong, at the end of the street, Min Jiang Tao, who had come with Jiang Shan but did not enter the Mo Bleed sect, watched the scene, his body turning ice cold from fear. This person indeed had hidden his strength. Luckily, he hadn't dared to act rashly before, or else he would have ended up just like Lin Baiang, a dead body. Negotiate a condition. Heaven Mandate Hall temporary meeting place. Mo Baiye was just about to reveal his plan to enter Jilin Valley, when Chen Yuan, whom he had met before, hurried over. Elder, our teacher is missing. Mo Baiye was stunned, then a surge of anger rushed to his mind. Without even thinking, he knew it must have been the doing of Jiang Shan. You've just abducted one disciple, but not only did you betray the entire Mo Blade sect and annihilate all hidden forces, but you also captured my most trusted disciple. Elder, what do we do now? Chen Yuan looked over, his face full of worry. It is said that the one who captured our teacher is a wandering cultivator called Zhang Yu. Mo Baiye's eyes twitched. Zhang Yu was one of the experts he had left ambushed at his lover's place, and had already been captured and killed by the Wangxiang sect. How could he possibly capture Mo Hong? Clearly, this was fake news deliberately released by Jiang Shan. Mo Baiye waved a hand. Enough, don't worry about it. Did the other party leave any other messages? Chen Yuan said. The other party said, if you want to save the person, release the one you've captured voluntarily, otherwise, our teacher might be in life-threatening danger. No one can be told about this message, not a soul. Mo Baiye asked the other party to leave first, sinking into deep thought by himself. Release Liu Mingyu. That was definitely impossible. Once released, there would be no way to blackmail the other party, and after entering Jilin Valley, securing the greatest benefits would be difficult. But if they didn't release her, what if they killed Mo Hong? Just a disciple, if he dies, he dies. His gaze flashed. Despite Mo Hong having followed him for who knows how many years, he was just a tool after all, and his death wasn't a big deal. If his death could be exchanged for the success of his plan, it would not be a loss. With this thought, he breathed a sigh of relief and cracked a slight smile. Just as he was about to continue speaking, Master Qian Yuhun of the Wangxiang sect walked in. Master Qian, what brings you here? Shi Yunjing was momentarily flabbergasted and quickly got to his feet. Although he held the esteemed position of the Heavenly Destiny Hall Master of the Zui dynasty, in terms of status and power, Qian Yuhun was not the least bit weaker, so he did not dare to act superior. I was just passing by and remembered a piece of information the Wangxiang sect had just obtained. Thought I should tell Master Mo about it. Qian Yuhun spoke clearly. Master Mo. Shi Yunjing turned his head. Mo Baiye's eyelids twitched, an ominous feeling growing inside him. The next moment, Qian Yuhun's voice rang out. Yes, Master Mo's disciple Mo Hong has just been captured by a wandering cultivator called Zhang Yu, heading towards the east of the city. If Master Mo wants to save him, there's still time. Mo Baiye stood up, wanting to say something, but found himself at a loss for words. He could have kept this news under wraps and pretended ignorance. If his disciple died later, at most he would just fake a few tears to resolve the matter. But now, with Master Qian announcing it publicly, if he didn't go to the rescue, then his role as Vice Palace Master wouldn't be tenable. What? Master Mo doesn't want to save him. Qian Yuhun looked over, puzzled. How could I not? I'm going right now. Mo Baye, putting on a brave face, strode out. Shi Yunjing shouted, Vice Palace Master Mo, do you need a few elders to assist you? Mo Baye hurriedly shook his head. Thank you for the offer, Hall Master, but this is my own business. I can handle it myself. Having finished speaking, he rushed outside hurriedly and disappeared in the blink of an eye. After leaving the room, Mo Baye turned westward, but after only a few steps, he was blocked by Chen Yuan at the junction. Uncle Master, the teacher has been kidnapped to the east of the city. Good. His eyelids twitched, and Mo Baye had no choice but to fly towards the east of the city. After running wildly for 2 or 3 miles, he noticed that Chen Yuan couldn't see him anymore, so he jumped down from the high wall, intent on finding a place to hide and give up, when suddenly another Mo Blade sect disciple hurried over. Master, I just saw the teacher being taken that way. Mo Baye felt a surge of frustration. The other party could command so many disciples and wait here to ambush him, clearly calculating that he did not want to rescue them. However, now that these disciples had pointed out the direction, even if he didn't want to save them, he had no choice. Zhang Shan, I really want to see what tricks you have. With a cold snort, unable to contain himself any longer, he strode rapidly towards the direction of the east of the city. After progressing more than 10 kilometers, he had already reached the outskirts of the city, and from a distance, he saw mountain ranges stretching on endlessly. Seeing no one from the Mo Blade sect around, he let out a sigh of relief, contemplating whether to make up an excuse for not catching up when he saw, a few hundred meters away, Mo Hong bound and hanging from a tree, and above him, a young man quietly standing on the treetop, smiling down at him. Although he couldn't make out the face, he knew it was undoubtedly Zhang Shan. When Mo Hong saw him appear, he shouted excitedly, but his mouth was gagged, and his voice couldn't escape. Seeing the other party so confident, Mo Baye knew it was highly likely that an ambush was set. As he considered whether to approach, a loud shout erupted from behind him. Hurry up, release brother Mo Hong. That voice was exceptionally loud, so that everyone within 3 or 4 kilometers could hear it clearly. Mo Baye's eyelids twitched. He turned to look in the direction of the voice and saw Min Jiangtao, with an angry face, charging towards Mo Hong's location. After running a few steps, he suddenly stumbled and fell heavily to the ground, simultaneously shouting loudly, Not good, I've been poisoned, teacher, brother Mo Hong has been captured, right ahead, hurry and save him. Quote. Mo Baye felt weary. Poisoned, my ass. Others may not know that you've betrayed us, but I'm well aware. Deliberately shouting Mo Hong's name and then mine, obviously fearing I would shrink back. Despite clearly seeing the disciple being captured, he remained indifferent. If he didn't go to rescue now, Mo Baye would never be able to show his face again. At this moment, although he knew he was being played and that the other party had set a trap for him to fall into, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and charge forward. Biting his teeth, he leapt lightly, flying straight towards the young man in front. As soon as he moved, the young man on the opposite side immediately grabbed the bound Mo Hong and sped away to an even further location. With no other choice, Mo Baye could only clench his teeth and follow closely. One fleeing and one chasing, they ran wildly for a full quarter of an hour. The young man then stopped in a mountain valley, casually throwing the captured Mo Hong to the ground before flipping his wrist, revealing a Mo blade at the latter's throat. Master Mo, since you've followed thus far, I assume you wish to save this disciple. In that case, let's talk. The young man looked over indifferently. Mo Baye stopped in his tracks, looking at the other person. If not Zhang Shan,